Welcome back to another episode of Pop-Up Ologies. In this week's video, we're going to spend some time laying in the grass and clover, examining the roots of trees, and learning about the scientists developing the crops of the future. That's right, this week's episode is all about plants and how people study them. After all, plants are a foundational block of our food chain, provide us the oxygen we breathe, and have even played a crucial role in the development of modern medicine. So let's go ahead and get started learning all about phytology, otherwise known as botany, the scientific study of plants. Phytology finds its roots in prehistory under the guise of herbalism, a name given to early humanity's efforts to identify, and later cultivate, the plants growing in the world around them. Some were just good to eat, but over time began to show other uses as well. Once an individual knew which reeds could be woven into baskets or mats, which plants were thought to clear up coughs and colds, perhaps which fibers could be pressed into parchment, this knowledge was shared and passed down through the ages. In some cases, superstition and local word of mouth took the place of what we'd call scientific inquiry today, but the seed of our modern study was planted. In fact, it was planted so long ago, we still scour the archaeological record today for more clues about how and what early humans ate. Around 1100 BC, ancient texts on early botanical works were produced in India and Egypt, and in China too, around the year 220 BC. In ancient Greece, a student of Aristotle named Theophrastus produced two of his major works, Enquiry into Plants and On the Causes of Plants, which are considered to be the most important contributions to modern botanical sciences until the Middle Ages, almost 17 centuries later. Our more modern botanists do a wide variety of work, because plants still play just as many crucial roles in our life on Earth today as they did way back when. Some might work in botanical gardens, zoos, and greenhouses, helping people learn about plants from around the globe. Others study how pollution and changing climate patterns such as drought, cold snaps, or extreme flooding are affecting agriculture, or developing new crops genetically modified to resist these stressors. And still yet, other botanists might be focused on learning all about one specific species or type of organism. For example, have you ever heard of diatoms? They're a type of algae, microalgae to be specific, and technically neither a plant or an animal, but produce between 20 and 50% of the Earth's annual supply of oxygen every year through photosynthesis. Someone has to keep an eye on these guys. So how do we learn more about phytology in our own backyard? Well, we can start the same way the earliest botanists did, and learn by breaking down the plants around us into taxonomic categories. There are estimated to be between 350 and 400,000 species of plants in the world, and you could spend a lifetime trying to learn about them all. So let's narrow things down. First, we'll focus on the Embryophtes, or land plants for right now. From there, we'll begin to break into categories like the Polypodiaphyta, home to ferns and horsetails, or Pinophyta, which contain the world's conifers, or maybe, if we're feeling ambitious, Magnoliophyta, the flowering plants. This is the most diverse group, with 300,000 known species represented. When we break these groups down even further, we find our species being divided again and again by like features. As aspiring botanists, we can take our knowledge of these likenesses and differences out into the field to help us in our own identification. We can look for the long, slender needles of the red and white pine, or peer even closer to tell a spruce from a hemlock. A spruce tree is usually marked by sharp, four-sided needles, whereas a hemlock has flat needles with blunt tips. Starting small, with easily recognizable features such as these, can help build confidence in plant ID. But remember, it's always best to go out with an expert who can share their experience and help avoid mistakes and common lookalikes. As you can probably guess by now, there is always more work to be done, both by the scientists of the world and the plant enthusiasts when it comes to phytology, whether that be pursuing the cutting edge of modern advancements, or maybe just trying to remove and replace invasive species at home. The plant kingdom is a fascinating place that we have barely scratched the surface of, with plenty of surprises still in store. We encourage you to get out and see what you can find in your own big backyard, to get acquainted with the many species that call it home, and maybe make a new discovery or two along the way. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Ologies, and we can't wait to see you next time.